In our sport, I think by far it outstands anything. Anything over a 3-hour race is very hard. The one thing that makes this the worst of the lot is the fact that you've got to start off in the men's with a 23-kilometre ski paddle. To do that and then get down to Coolangatta and look back and see the Q1 and think I've got to get back to there, it's a very daunting task. I think the biggest part is what you've planned with your coach prior to. Some people are going to go out there to try and lead out the ski, some are going to go to sit on, other guys are going to go out there to try and achieve a goal that they think's reasonable. If they get off the ski and they've done what they've predicted with their coach, well then they're going to be fine. I don't think the conditions are going to play too much into anyone's hand. I think there's a field rocking up this year in the men's and the ladies that it's so spread across the field that I think it's going to be a very wide open race.
How much will tactics play a part in that ski leg?
Everything. The whole thing comes down to who uses the most cookies in the first ski leg. If you go into the race and you try and win it from the very start, it's not going to happen because the whole race counts on those last few steps when you run across the line, and what you do in the ski makes up for that last run leg. And for the men to do a 10-kilometre run after a 23k ski, your 3.5k swim, your 5k board, plus your 4k run in the middle, if you've used up too many cookies in that ski, well, it's definitely going to come back and bite you. The main thing is the first ski leg. For both male and female, you need a camel pack or you need something on your ski that you can hydrate with. If you are in the middle of a race like this and you feel any hydration where you are thirsty, it's too late. That means your body's lacking what it needs. The first thing that happens is you start cramping up. When that happens, your whole race falls apart. You need to replenish, and you can't really do that quick enough in a race before you get to the end. So key factor is the camel pack and the bum belt, whichever one you wanted to go with, and you need to drink that the whole way down. If you've got a 2-litre pack, I'd suggest everybody drinking the whole 2 litres on the way down. I think the swim is probably the hardest thing. It's 3.5 k's long. You've been sweating. You've been up on a ski for a long time. Your heart rate's been right up through the roof. All of a sudden, you're diving into cold water. Everything slows right down. What you think is going to happen doesn't, because it's cold. You need to start the arms up. You've been doing everything with the upper body. Now your legs need to come into the factor, and I think the swim is one of the toughest parts of this race, and that's where a lot of people either progress further or they fall behind. The winners of the past, Kane Ecksteins and even his brother Shannon, when those guys get into that swim leg, along with Dean Mercer, you know, they kick right into another gear, whereas the other people, they really struggle because they've done all that work on the ski, and it's really struggling to get the two playing together. It used to be a battle between whether you put your shoes on or not, but these days nobody bothers for the shoes. They're in such a fast mode to get up there and hurry up and run and do that transition and get down to their board that I think there's only a few people that have got issues with their calves that bother about it. It's basically a sprint, a 4-kilometre sprint. And these guys go very, very fast. And if you ever stand down there and watch them, or you're a handler, you notice that it's quite hard to actually beat them from Balinga down to there on a moped. So it just proves how fast these guys are really running down to their board. Best part of the race, whether it's a headwind or a downwind, the great thing about it is with a board you get to lie down, you get to rest. If you're with people, you're lucky enough to work with them or work against them. When you come around to that point, a lot of people try and catch a wave and pull away from the people that have helped them the whole way. But the one thing about it is, on a board, you don't really get a stitch, so you can hydrate a lot, you can drink a lot, you can actually even eat food. The last run's just about to come, so you want to make sure that everything downstairs and in the body's working at 100%, and you want to make sure that those legs are ready for that last 10k run. From the last can, paddling back to the beach, that's all you're thinking about. When you watch the race, a lot of the guys actually lay down that whole way in. They don't kneel up just so they can save their legs. The hardest part about the whole run is the Miami Hill. When you get to the base of the hill, you've done your 2k down the beach. That's not too bad because you're still running high on adrenaline with the crowd. Once you hit that hill, you realise whether you've got the legs or whether you don't. You have to drive up that concrete path and then work your way down the stairs. Once you get to the other side of the stairs, that's when the legs go on you. The jelly kicks in, the fatigue, the mental strain, the ability of whether you're going to make it or whether you're not. That's when you're really calling on your friends and coaches and whatnot to give you a bit of support to get you to the finish line. They've got a fantastic ramp. It's a 60-metre ramp called the Travelator, running from the bottom of the beach right up to the surf club. And we haven't seen it in too many years past, but if it was to be a sprint finish, I tell you what, it's going to be a tough one. For the guys and the girls, they've all got to run up the hill. The hill's very big, and it's a slow, gradual climb. And after 10Ks, that's the last thing you're going to feel like doing. but it's going to be a gratifying feeling crossing that line and knowing you've achieved it. I think he's the favourite. He was a little sick for a while. He went through a bit of a patch, but on the weekend I was coaching the kids down here and he came running past, and I tell you what, he looked like greased lightning. He went past that quick, it was phenomenal. But in saying that, there is a lot of phenomenal kids out there. I saw a fair few of them do the trial last week. Alex Tibbetts, a guy that never really gets mentioned. He's a kid that can paddle a ski very well. He can run unbelievably. And the in-between the board and the swim, it'd be great to see how he goes. I think across the board, there's going to be about 5 or 6 guys vying for that spot. The great thing about Kane, and this is why Kane's such a champion, is he can finish a race off. From no matter where he is, he can run and run and run. And he's so light, he glides across the sand, and the only reason he's won so many of them is because he's such a tough athlete. And I think he's still the favourite, but there's a lot of great competitors in this race. The biggest thing about that is you're doing a ski leg similar to the guys. There's a lot of new athletes that are coming through from the Sunshine Coast and from Sydney they're young, they're smaller frame, they're not as big as Hayley Baderup, Elizabeth Plumas, Courtney Hancock on the ski. Crystal Smith's also doing it, so these girls can run like the wind, but they struggle a little bit on the ski. If they can put a big ski leg in, well then they're going to be a show for the race. The biggest part of that again is making sure you know who your standard is, who you can paddle with, what rhythm you can get into, whether you're going to use too many cookies or not enough cookies. So it's going to be a 15k race depending on the weather. They're predicting a sou'wester, then a nor'easter, then a nor'wester, so it's going to be around the 7 knots. That's what everybody's saying on all the websites, so I don't think that's going to play too much of a part. I think it's just going to be a flat out race. You can sit down and try to put your shoes on, or you can run over something, you can do it wrong, you can come into the wrong area. That's everything with preparation. You should be doing that with your coach a long time prior to that. You should know it methodically so that when race day comes, it's just like second nature. You should know exactly where you need to go, where your boards are going to be and where everything's going to be. And I'm pretty sure that the top people of the Coolangatta Gold in the women's are going to be like that. Last year was in the women's, this is where it was decided. Alicia Marriott went out wide on her board. Elizabeth Plumas was in the middle and Hayley stayed in close. Unfortunately, it didn't work for Hayley. For Elizabeth, Alicia actually got away from her because she went wider and got more runs. So again, that's another scenario you need to look at on the day. You need to check out the winding conditions. You need to know which way it's going, whether it's better on the inside or the outside. And you need to be smart and use your head, because what happens after that is you swim. If you haven't sorted your race out by then, well then the girls that can swim, and I tell you what, they can swim fast, they're going to get right away. The great thing about it is we've got a southerly blowing now, so hopefully the water's going to be pushing south to north. If it's doing that, well then it's only going to assist them. The second you dive in that water, when you turn that first can, if that water's moving down and you've got a little bit of a lead, well then that's only going to open it up. For the other people that are still paddling in, it's going to be a very crucial part of the race. It's going to make the ones going into the last leg with their run leg really worried about what the girls up front are going to be doing. Some of them don't mind it. It's quite a funny thing, you know. A lot of them, like I said earlier, from the Sunshine Coast, from Sydney and from here, are very lightweight girls. If they've had a big race where they're up with the front group, well then they're going to be quite excited to finish with the upper body and work on the lower body, which is your legs. I personally think that it's going to be a tough race coming up to that hill. I think once we get to the top of that hill, we'll know who's going to win that race. 7 kilometres is a long way, but it's not that long in the fact that some people can run that fast and they can pull a gap and other people won't be able to chase them down. Hayley Baderup, I think, obviously I coach her, so I can't go past her. I think she's a person that's won this 3 times. She's had a bit of trouble with her shoulder. She's been out of it for over 12 months now, and she's getting back into it, and she's hit her straps right at the right time. So all depending on the first ski leg is going to play out where she comes in the race, because like everybody knows, she can run very well, so it's all going to be the first part of the race for Hayley. Not only injury, they actually cut quite a big section of her shoulder out. So for anyone to come back and achieve what she's about to do this year is outstanding. Most people would give up and walk away, but Hayley's decided to take that step, and it's been a lot of rehab, a lot of hard work, and it's going to be very good to see how she goes this weekend racing the Coolangatta Gold.
Well, you've heard it from the expert, Phil Clayton, the man himself, the head coach here at Kurrawa. He's coached athletes to do this event. He's coaching them on Sunday. He's done the race himself. It is the test of the toughest. 46 kilometres for the men and 30.5 for the women. We've got over 500 starters, over 200 individuals and 300 that make up almost 100 teams. This event is growing from strength to strength. It's the test of the toughest, the hardest endurance Ironman race there is on the planet. It really is going to test whether you're 15-year-old Ben Pugh from Cronulla or 67-year-old Alan Coates doing this race for the 9th time from Noosa Heads. From the elite Kane Eckstein and Hallie Bader to the masters over 50s. Whether you're in the under-19s or the elite men or women, or whether you're in the teams race, it really is. It's a great day. It really does attract some amazing athletes, some old, some young. It's going to be a tremendous day of activities, starting at 7 o'clock with the open men, 8:15 for the women, and then all the age groups and the masters and the teams will flow through. We expect the winners to get through to this point here at the finish arch at Kurrawa at around 11 o'clock, and then there'll be a steady stream of athletes coming through, everyone knowing that they've conquered the Coolangatta Gold.